Oh, hi. Hope you haven't been waiting long. My name is Stacy Can. I'm an officer at the Bureau of Non-Competitive Research.
My name is Jose Cortez. I'm an officer at the Bureau of Non-Competitive Research.
Hey, good morning. Sorry I'm late.
Hey.
Oh, shit. Was that today? Oh, damn.
Well, you know if you check your emails on Wednesdays.
Good morning. Welcome. Hi. Okay, well, so now I'm late and now I'm embarrassed. Do I have a minute to actually get here? Did you already start?
My name is Victoria Stanton, and I'm an officer at the Bureau of Non-Competitive Research. The three of us are in a PhD program at Concordia University here in Montreal, art education. Stacy and I started in the same year. Later courses that we both took had us experimenting with experimental methodologies, creating a pilot project. We saw that both of our projects actually intersected. Stacy is working a lot around collaboration, and I'm working a lot around dialogue. So we invited each other to be in each other's experimental methodological projects. And through that, we realized we're both doing a lot of work around doing nothing, very differently approaching the subject of doing nothing, but nonetheless, that's the crux of what we're thinking about and doing. So through that, we ended up creating work out of another course, an independent study that we did, a codependent study that we did. We already had this idea to keep pushing this project further to see what else we could do. That became a series of conversations online discussing notions of intersections between pedagogy, slowness, and art practice. Again, if we're going to choose one from each group,
We are conceiving the office as a material. We are exploring it, we're changing it, inhabiting it in different ways, and it's always changing. It has some individualities, and it has also a collectivity, but also it's kind of anonymous at the same time. Like from the eyes of the visitors, people on the street can see it from the outside, and it's just an office, but it's like a material that is just there, laying there, while it's not being activated.
We were careful to choose objects that weren't too uniquely designed or too special, that we tried to pick objects that were very typical of an office space.
The interesting additional element is the human component, because there's what's in the office as far as furniture and furnishings to do work or to not work, but then there's us. So we end up being an extension of that, like what Jose was saying, the office as material, and then we end up becoming both players, but also ourselves activating the space. When we found out that we would be co-creating this space here at the Phi, we started meeting weekly, pretty much, for several months before to brainstorm what is the space going to be physically, what will happen ideologically, activity-wise, what's exciting to us, and what do we want to try to bring to the forefront in our being together in this time and place. In fact, it might have even been through watching Office Space that we saw.
Yeah, there's one poster that says, "Is this good for the company?"
So we started thinking about what could we do to activate the space with regards to the kinds of messages that we put around, like on the walls. But then that became, oh, maybe we could kind of construct things that people need to think about to not motivate them. Oh, maybe we could make posters. Why don't we bring some posters that we've made, and then, oh, why don't we create a workshop where people come in and we make these posters together, and that becomes one of our workshop activities or something along those lines.
Like when you first arrive in the office, it just looks like an office. And the more time you spend in it, the more the details start kind of not making sense, and it becomes more and more absurd. I don't know if it's critiquing any one thing in particular. People think about, why is that weird? Oh, there's this strange uncanniness, but why am I having that feeling? What is it about three people wearing the exact same suit that's kind of like an office, but in no office does everyone wear the exact same three-piece suit? It's just using this weirdness, this uncanniness as a way of reflecting about our own experiences of offices and work. My generation, almost everyone I know is a contract freelance worker who has no job secure, like the idea of like going to an office 5 days a week to actually work is like this kind of bizarre notion that like rarely experienced in my life, and like many people my age have never experienced. So there is like this kind of element of that. But I would say that like it's not, I wouldn't say that we're like glorifying the office in any way as like an ideal work situation either.
There's something about maybe understanding other people in my life more through this experience because it resembles what their daily experience looks like, such that I've never experienced myself. It's also a kind of funny position to take or to put myself in or for us to be in to create a satire around something that I actually don't have a firsthand experience of. So there is a kind of nostalgia there, but from a like pop culture perspective.
For this project too, we're hiring a bureaucrat who is like a person that has gone through an interview process and like a formal hiring process. Like as the project continues, this idea of like whether or not us as physical people need to be at the bureau for it to be the bureau, or can like people take up this notion of like doing nothing in different spaces without us under like the guise of the Bureau of Non-Competitive Research.
Yeah, I think that in the case of the bureaucrat that we are hiring, there's an important shift there because now the power dynamics changes. You know, in the past there was a person who were the facilitators, like empowered to give green light to the bureau in some way, but or helping out to do the things. But now it's like person is hired by the bureau and is going to be probably expecting, hopefully not, to be told what to do by the bureau. So it's a different position. I think that's very, very challenging.
When we have been here in our meetings, because that's what we tend to do when we come together, at least for part of our day together in the office. If someone does happen to come through the door, we don't actually introduce ourselves, but we invite them to sit down with us and jump in. So like we were doing a brainstorming session, I think for the interviews, and some person we don't know came in and said, is it okay? And come sit down. And, oh, we're just brainstorming for our upcoming event. And they started brainstorming with us.
Well, I think originally the plan was to do as little as humanly possible, but in the end, we seem to be doing more than we initially anticipated.